This week on Zen and Not Zen, bro time, bro time, bro time. I entered a raffle to go to Antarctica on a cruise with Jimmy Buffett.
See,
and can I tell you, when I didn't win that, I was so upset because I was like, I would love to go to Antarctica. It's on my bucket list.
Vibe here.
Seriously, could you imagine being on a Margaritaville themed cruise and just a down fucking jacket,
North
freezing,
Face fucking
penguins everywhere?
Yeah.
I need to be part of this, and I guess he did it. And he was planning on doing it like every couple of years, and so I was like, well, I'll get the next one. And then he died. I was like, I'll never have my Jimmy Buffett Antarctic cruise now.
Like
bro time.
Bro time.
Bro time. All right.
Hey, welcome back.
Hey.
Yeah, doing shit. You know, it's funny. I was actually listening to some of our older ones, like before, like the first ones. Man, that was pretty. It was pretty funny. Like just finding. Well, the first one. Right, the first one we did. The first one we did was albums you could listen to all the way through, and this is when we were still recording in our garage, right, in my garage back in the day, and so.
Wait, at the old house?
At the old house.
Didn't we record upstairs?
Eventually, but we started in the garage.
Oh,
yeah. And so, and it was funny because like when we hit record or when the first one comes on, it's like, oh, are we recording now? Well, we're going live. We're going live because I think apparently we were having like a conversation before we hit record, and it was seemingly funny. And then I was like, oh, that's right. I should probably hit record.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, are we live now? Are we live? Like,
Fuck it, we're going live.
We're going live.
fuck it. Nothing came up.
Yeah.
This thing sucks.
Oh man, but yeah, there's some gems back there. But actually, you know, I was going through them because I think we should maybe revisit some of the old topics we did.
I was thinking about that too. Yeah.
Do we need to do like a two-parter on U-Haul lesbians?
No, I think that one I'm feeling pretty good about.
Yeah.
That was a lot of good information.
A lot of great information. We got to give the audience time to like digest.
Yes, exactly. You got to marinate on some of that shit. But I would like to revisit, like, you know, albums we listened to front to back, you know.
So that was the first podcast?
Very first one we did.
Shit, I don't even know what I don't even know what I'd say now.
I've been thinking a lot about that because, because of our conversations, and I think Kinsey, you might have had conversations with us with this too, but Robin and I have talked a lot about how it's hard for us to find new music that we really like, where there's new artists, new music, and, you know, fortunately for me, you know, I found myself in the yoga industry and I love making playlists for yoga classes. And so with that, I kind of do listen to newer music. It's not always my favorite, but I know what people like to listen to, you know?
Yeah, just Jose Gonzalez fucking all day.
But but because of that, like I have been listening to more albums front to back just to see what they're like, right? Danger Mouse was one of the more newer ones. The Danger Mouse Black Thought Cheat Codes last year was fucking awesome. But then actually Danger Mouse just came out with a new album called with Gemini The Gift, and it's another concept album, and it's phenomenal. I listened to it front to back the other day, and it was great.
Renaissance
okay,
is designed to listen all the way through because there are no cuts, like there's no in between songs, like the song melts into the next song, like it's supposed to be played in a club because it's an ode to like gay club mix.
Really?
And
It's Beyonce's album.
Yeah. I'm seeing her next week.
You are going?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right on. Very cool.
I got all my silver. I'm ready. I'm very, 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 very ready. But yeah, so it's meant to be played like all the way through.
Right on.
Yeah, it's great.
I miss that, you know, and again, we can you know, have that conversation later, but you know, there are like, I know music's not really meant to be consumed that way unless it's put out to be consumed that way, like Renaissance, you said. You know, a lot of artists that I listen to now will just, you know, release an album's worth of content over 6 months, and then release the album,
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, okay, I get that.
Well, with the Spotify and the streams and shit,
totally,
it's like, but it's just interesting. We were talking about albums, and I just thought of, you guys probably don't remember this, and I only listened to it once, but Flaming Lips in like the mid '90s released an album called Zyreka, which was 4 CDs,
vague,
4 CDs to be played at the same time.
Oh,
what?
Yeah.
How do you pull that off?
You need 4 CD
You
players.
4 Discmans. I don't have 4 Discmans.
4 CDs, 4 different CD players.
Yeah. I remember. Wow. So I remember my buddy. Well, buddy's a very I don't even know who the fuck his name is. So a friend of a friend who lived at this house.
Yeah.
He had it, and since there was a CD player in the living room and then 3 bedrooms downstairs, he was able to fucking kind of get them all queued up and stuff.
Dope.
And then you just have to walk in a circle.
Right? Well, yeah, so, okay, it's hard enough for me to get the fucking Dark Side of Oz queued up, and that's a DVD and a CD. 4 CDs,
4
dude?
CDs.
That's fucking good for Flaming Lips, man.
Yeah,
they're collecting a lot of their fucking fan
I don't
base.
know what that looks like now. I think you can get it now in DVD audio or 5.1 or some shit.
Yeah.
Like
Where they can play it all
but it
the
was
same?
literally like in the 90s, you were going to like, okay, so bring your fucking boombox. Bring your cables. Bring your cables, bro. It's like, oh, we've taped some porn. Now we're going to listen to Zyrika.
Yeah.
No, I'm here to get my dick hard. I don't want to listen to 4 CDs at the same time. I want an awkward erection with my friends. Yeah.
All at the same time.
All at the same time. So what were they trying to accomplish? Was it like...
I don't know. It was weird sounding shit, man.
I gotta figure that out. I want to listen to that.
See that before they went mainstream, they were a little more like kind of. They've always been a
Like Talking
trippy,
Heads.
trippy, arty kind of band.
Yeah.
Doing acid and shit. They're from Oklahoma.
Really?
What?
I had no idea about that.
Yeah. Tim McVeigh and Flaming Lips. That's what you get.
That's what it's.
Fuck. Might
Terry-
need to hit the dump button on that.
Well, I think I might have shared this before, but
Fuck.
Terry Nichols is married into my mom's side of the family.
Wait, the
other
accomplice.
Oklahoma.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
What?
Uncle Terry. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, when that all went down in the 90s, so first off, my family had nothing to do with it. Like,
Sure,
Terry Nichols married one of my aunts or something like that.
Oh, shit.
Didn't go well. They separated. But when all of that went down, within hours, every single family member that I have that had a farm in Michigan all got raided.
No.
Every fucking farm. FBI showed up, fucking guns blazing, raided all their farms.
How did we not know about this before right now?
Well, I mean, normally you don't broadcast, that you're, by proxy,
Maybe you don't.
2 degrees of Kevin Bacon away from like one of the most infamous domestic terrorists of all time.
Right.
That's wild.
You don't just put that on the fucking cover letter when you go get a job.
You may or
hide
may
that
not
in the back
know me.
between the Taco Time job and Nordstrom's.
Oh, I love Taco Time. I actually had Taco Time the other day.
Taco Time Northwest. You need to make a distinction.
Northwest,
You need to
yes.
make a distinction. Taco Time Northwest is the restaurant group that is better than the whatever the fuck.
The fast food chain.
It is a fast food chain, but they have a higher standard of like recipe freshness and kind of corporate oversight.
Okay.
One of my buddies, actually, Steve. Yeah,
Shout out Steve.
Yeah, shout out Steve Gabmeyer.
Corporate chef. Taco
Was
Time.
the corporate chef Taco Time? Yeah, he worked with Robin first. I caught up with him at
Starbucks.
iPick.
Yeah, I worked with him in the late 90s.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I caught Chef. We called him Chef-tastic. I called him Chef-tastic. So to me, Steve was Chef-tastic, and the kitchen was the Steve Nation, and so he was his own band. It was like Chef-tastic and the Steve Nation. Exactly. And so Chef-tastic, he was great, man. I fucking love that guy. I don't know where he's at now, but yeah,
he's in Sacramento.
That sounds right. About right. Yeah.
I occasionally click on his Facebook to find out what the fuck he's doing.
Yeah.
I saw him. I saw him maybe like went on a drink. Oh, this is a great podcast. Hey, it was the last time you saw somebody.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw him like 5 years ago. Had some drinks with another person you don't fucking know. It was great. Brought you up.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Great conversation.
Well, I think that might kind of play into our topic today, like when you saw somebody last. But when you were last part of an unintentional social experiment.
Yeah.
And so this kind of came to us. Kinsey and Robin were talking about, the debacle that went on with Burning Man. Well, debacle, we call it whatever it wants.
Natural causes.
Yeah, and I say debacle. It could be one of the best social experiments that ever happened in life. So we don't know until whenever.
No, the best
know.
social experiment in life is me somehow breaking into one of those silent retreats and watching the fucking English muffin toaster scenario.
I think
every
about
morning.
that so often.
I literally would pay hundreds of dollars to watch that.
It's so
hundreds of dollars.
You could see people's work like going at it. They're like, "Find your breath, bro."
Yeah, just like I want to
stab somebody
scream.
with a double butter.
Yeah, like you can't talk. You've never seen a frustration to someone who can't talk.
Was it
and
just
they watch?
Was it because you only had a certain amount of time for breakfast, or just one toaster and you had to wait in line?
One toaster, wait in line, and then the refill on the bread. Like you can't say anything,
right?
You can't be like, "Oh, hey, homie, we're out of bread." There's no bell to be like bread bell.
Right.
You're just literally sitting there at 4:30 in the morning after meditating for an hour, waiting patiently for your toast, which is one of the small few happinesses outside of your own personal growth.
You're gonna get like a little toast and jam or some shit.
Exactly.
Some sugar.
It's your treat.
Motherfucker, going crazy. Yeah.
That shit is so funny. There's just no way. I mean, I'm just gonna need to get drone footage.
I would fucking
That's the only
love
way in
that.
which I'm gonna need to fucking go do car camping like a fucking half click away from this.
I would
Just
seriously
get up and send a drone over the fucking breakfast table. Is that a drone? No.
Nobody can
We're
say
gonna do
anything.
like flaming lips and do like four at the same time.
Nobody can
different
say
side.
anything. Yeah,
Why is everybody stoically looking up and to the right now?
No, we'll never know. Silent retreat.
yeah, nobody's gonna say anything.
Oh man, but so I think it's very interesting, the Burning Man situation. I've never been to Burning Man. Like I'm not.
I wanted to go when I was in my
to.
20s. Like
I
I
still
looked
want to.
into it and I was like, oh, this seems like a lot more work than I thought.
It is, then that's it.
And that's why
and so
I didn't go.
I think it's very interesting that we keep getting presented with a lot of these like social experiments in life right now. Like COVID was a very interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
Burning Man being what it is now, or what happened this last year.
Yeah.
There's all these different things that are happening through life that may have had like a previous basis as like, we'll take Burning Man. Burning Man is like is a great social experiment, period, because you get a bunch of people, almost 100,000 people together,
Which is wild.
in a place that doesn't accept money.
Yeah.
They create their own social system.
Yeah, there's nothing. There's no stores. There's nothing.
Yeah, and it's all trade. It's all based off of like whatever that system that's created. And so I love that. But then, and that's like the perfect scenario, right? You go there, you have an understanding, like we're all going to be altruistic. We're all going to like trade things. And then life happens and some people are like, no, this is cool. We figured this out already. We already set this up. And then other people's humanness, the culture comes back in and they're like, fuck.
I gotta take care of myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Survival comes in, right?
Yeah.
And so, and I'm not saying that one way is wrong and one way is right, or one way is enlightened and one way is not. It's just interesting to see how we still revert back to those animalistic kind of natures and how much we have to try to not be that.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, same with like COVID and the fucking toilet paper shit. Like, I'm just gonna like
motherfuckers
take.
throwing elbows
Yeah,
and
yeah,
shit?
yeah.
Well,
Just like
I mean,
what we.
Well, one thing I didn't occur to me about the whole Burning Man thing is like you go out there for a week and you're planning, to bring, a couple ounces of pot, a couple ounces of mushrooms, probably book of acid, couple, like your substances, but
As
then,
well as food.
yeah,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
like your gas, your water, your all that shit.
B, yes.
But see, where all that fucking falls away is if you're going out there for a week and you have 8 days worth of supplies, now you're stuck there for 2 weeks. And that's where all that shit will decay.
Well, and that's the social experiment,
Yeah.
right? Because there are still ways that all those people can survive, can ration
100%,
down,
yeah.
can share.
Oh yeah,
but
no.
there's also that
I didn't see the level of leadership from the 33, those Chilean miners that were down there and like shared a can of tuna for like a month and a half. Yeah, no, I get
Right.
it. I get it.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think that's where that is people go into the mindset of like, oh, I'm going to be a part of this. This is great. This is out of my norm. But then when the norm seeps back in, how quickly we knee-jerk reaction back to, no, fucker, that's mine.
Yeah.
Right?
How
And
it turns into Hunger Games all of a
I
sudden.
remember, I have friends who've been to Burning Man, so I was starting to see more of this on Reddit and social media before it kind of became a national news story. But it became an even bigger national news story because like Diplo and Chris Rock had to walk 8 miles to fucking get a ride, and it just shows them like, yeah, we're fucking walking. And it's just, that's not bad, Chris Rock.
That's not
Yeah,
bad,
it's
Chris
not-
Rock.
it's
Yeah,
pretty good.
that's good.
But I'm just sitting there going, cool. You know what's fucking, I guess, not news is the other 74,000 people that did the exact same fucking thing, but they're not Chris Rock and they're not Diplo, so we're not talking about them.
Right.
And they also probably had a much harder time hitchhiking on the side of the road because Chris Rock and Diplo got the only 2 spots on the flatbed.
Right.
And it's just kind of like, fuck, dude,
And the next morning, Diplo went on a hot air balloon over everyone still trapped at Burning Man to play a set. And I was like, I see what you're trying to do, but it feels gross.
That's
Like I know you're just trying to bring good vibes and to say like, hey, we're here with you, but you're from the safety of a hot air balloon, and then you get to go back to
it's like
not being trapped there.
There's the joke, celebrities spell out we're in this together in their yachts in the Mediterranean during COVID lockdown. Yeah, no shit.
Well, the other thing is like how quickly as a society but like so many people reveled in the joy of this not working out for them.
Right.
Yeah,
like
there's a little bit of that.
It was a lot of that, and it was kind of like it wasn't a disaster. Like most of the people that I saw, at least on TikTok, that were there, they're like, we're fine. Like it sucks, but we're fine. No one's dying. One person did pass away because he got electrocuted because they were trying to operate the generator.
That's how it happened.
Yeah. But it wasn't like a natural disaster, FEMA needed to come in type of thing, and everyone was just reveling in their misery.
Well, it's kind of like, I mean, the whole concept behind it's kind of absurd if we're really going to get down to it. You know, you're driving out into the... First of all, you know, we talk about Palm Springs. I bring up Palm Springs and golf courses all the fucking time, but now you're going out and putting 75,000 people out in the middle of the fucking desert with no supplies.
Yeah.
Well, they're responsible for their own.
Yeah, no, I'm you know, it's got a real Chris McCandless Into the Wild vibe.
Yeah. But I think, I think that was part of the allure of it. It's, you know, we're going out, but they're going out there to create their own society, create their own structure, create their own, you know, form of artwork out there, right?
Yeah, the shit I saw from my friend who went was insane.
Yeah, but I think, you know, and we need those social experiments. We need those breaks away from what our cultural norms could be. But what's interesting, I wanted to bracket on what you said, Kinsey, about making fun of the situation, you know, people reveling in the fact that it fell apart. You know, and that's the hard part, you know, and as much as the society we want to change, and maybe, you know, down deep we might want to adapt to these altruistic ideas, we're still so quick to say gotcha.
Yeah.
So that I knew it, told you so.
Yeah.
Right?
You're equally as miserable even when you're trying to find joy. Ha.
Right.
Like it's like, okay.
But in that there's like multiple things with that, you know, that's still like the person's point of view as being like, haha, this failed. But the people that are part of that could be like, no, this is exactly what it needs to be. Right?
Yeah.
And this is part of
they
why
sign
this
up
works,
for struggle.
Right? Right, exactly.
They sign up for not a great time, for even when in the best conditions. It's not a fun time.
It's still a dust storm where you're wearing fucking goggles.
And not even dust. Like, I didn't realize the whole alkaline dust stuff where you can like actually get burns on your skin because of the pH level. Because it's not dirt. It's an old lake bed. So the alkaline if you don't clean it off, like you have to clean yourself off with vinegar, and if you don't, you can get lung burns, you can get skin burns, you can like it's a whole event
I saw
to go.
people walking with goggles and bandanas like every year and shit. I'm just like, God, that's on a good day.
Yeah. This is best conditions.
Yep. But the other thing I wanted to bring up about that idea of like, haha, I told you so, it didn't work. There's, you know, for the longest time, doesn't matter who you talk to, what you recognize as, there's been this big push to like let men recognize their emotions and to feel their emotions and just to be okay with crying, right? I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and that was like the back end of the generations where we were still like iron fisting the emotions back.
Yeah.
So as much as we still, as a society, as much as a society, we're trying to encourage more of this openness and this feeling your emotions, we still bastardize these men that come out and cry, right? Will Smith cried on TV, and then memes got made about him. You know, fucking
Michael Jordan,
right? You know, there's all these memes and this mockery that happens when people actually step towards the thing, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, why can't we just create space and create this openness? And maybe that's part of the space that's being created. We have to realize that, like, how bad it feels to be the person that's being mocked, right? How bad it feels now to be the person mocking somebody, right?
And like what it achieves.
What does it achieve? Yeah, totally. You know.
But my thing with Burning Man is that it felt like even like 15 years ago when I was looking into going, it felt less mainstream. And now, like, looking at videos of people that have been doing it, you know, since the beginning, they're like, you know, it's changed from 30,000 people maybe or 15,000 people to over 70,000 people.
Wow.
Like, it's a different vibe. They're not saying it's like bad or good, but it's
like
just
ayahuasca retreat.
Like, can too many people ruin like getting too, you know what I'm trying to say? Like,
totally.
Does it only work when it's small, or like with Woodstock or even Lilith Fair? Like, you tried this one thing, it worked one time, and then you try to replicate it again, and it doesn't have the same effect. And like, why is that?
Did any of you fuck with Bumbershoot last weekend?
No.
Yeah. as we talk about things.
Well, like, when I used to go to Bumbershoot, like, when I would come up here for summer.
Arts and Music Festival.
Yeah, it felt like your grandma's art and music festival. And I went a couple years ago, and kids were dressed up like it was Coachella. And I was like, it's not Coachella.
Right.
It's Bumbershoot. We're at the Space Needle. Like...
But that's the blessing and the curse of these things gaining in popularity is that more people from other areas start to come to them, and they also frequent these other places. Everybody's looking to repeat the high that they've gotten, whether it's an emotional, spiritual, or an experiential high, But then I think that's the thing, though, is that we can't keep recreating this because everything changes. We all grow, we all develop. So the expectation of something being the way it was before, that's setting us up for failure. And we have to be able to grow with this stuff. And I think that's why the dramatic and the changes are so beneficial to this. Things like cryptocurrency, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not like all in with cryptocurrency, and I'm not like upset or happy when it fails or succeeds. But the fact of the volatility of it, I think, is encouraging because it shows people that are actually trying to make this work. We're not perfect by any means, but there has to be something that comes out outside of bank run in
At least
money.
They're trying something. But again, did it get tarnished by getting too many people with too many different intentions in on it, and now it's become this fucking hot mess?
Remember when Dogecoin?
Yeah,
there's all kinds of shit. I mean, and it's the Wild West out there now. Yeah. But just look at it. This type of currency, even though cryptocurrency isn't working, is so looked at as being the next thing that banks and financial institutions are developing their own cryptocurrency. The caveat to that is, and this is already built in, they just haven't activated it. I'm not doing conspiracy shit. This is just the technology's there. The ability for them to take your funds based off a social score is already there.
Right.
Bank and credit card companies, the majority of the major ones will not activate this feature, but some have, smaller ones have. So they can look at your spending and your basic habits and look at and know when you're going to have a divorce or a marital problem before you even do. And this came into play about 2 decades ago when Target...
When the Pornhub subscription starts going up in the late night.
So about 20 years ago, Target got into a bunch of trouble when they started doing direct marketing. This is the beginning of direct marketing. This dad comes into Target one day with his 13-year-old daughter and a fucking magazine, Target magazine, directly to her and was like, I want to talk to your fucking manager. Why are you directly advertising to my daughter prenatal vitamins, diapers, and shit like baby wipes? Like, what the fuck is this? This is bullshit. My daughter's 13, right? And just ran this guy through the fucking ringer.
And she was already pregnant?
She was really pregnant. So Target was tracking her purchases, and she was purchasing prenatal vitamins. She was purchasing things to get ready to be a mom. And so they started direct marketing her the things to be a mom. Didn't know she was 13 or didn't put that into it, right?
It's just a number.
So this has already been a thing.
Sounds like a really healthy, communicative father-daughter
relationship.
But now this is starting to expand now into those financially backed currencies. They notice that. So to your point, so like say the man in the relationship, we'll take a man-woman relationship. The man in the relationship is traveling a lot more, and the woman in the relationship is buying more junk food, right? And so in the bank's algorithmic eyes, they're starting to find separation, and so they'll lower the credit rate on the woman's credit. They'll lower the fucking amount that they can allow them to take out on their debit card or on their fucking credit card. Getting ready because they know that there's going to be a financial duress. There's going to be a separation, so they're getting ready for it. What the fuck is that?
It's so hard to feel like every corner that we turn, like we're not in control of anything in our lives, which I know we are, but like it's just like you can't escape the fucking matrix.
Well, and I was thinking about this a little bit as far as like quote control, and like you and Mandy, like you guys own your place, right? And that's the only thing that I own my place. That's literally like, okay, I've got this.
Yeah, this is the thing that we have.
Like that's it.
Right.
Like that's the only thing I feel like I actually have.
Yeah. Yeah. But even then, even then, we're still beholden to HOA, and like we had to like redo our bathroom and shit. I still have to like check in with the board to make sure. So like even though it's our place, we still have to like answer to somebody else to do shit.
Building,
and even to that point, so we have friends that live in West Seattle, lived there for probably 10 years, 15 years, own their house, owning their house, and are being forced out now because the light rail's going through them.
Right. I think about that all the time with our place. I was like, is someone going to sell this big condo unit?
That blows, and that doesn't erase the fact that they're losing their place, but they're probably going to get like 125% value, 140%.
They didn't really get that good of a deal. They definitely got taken care of. But
it's not like that. It's not. I'm not downplaying that.
Totally.
It's not like the city's like. It's not like some fucking horror movie where the city's like, and this is now mine, and I'm giving you $11 for this.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like a lot of people were like, yeah, this is tight.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying that's what your friends are.
Yeah, yeah.
You know. That
but
blows.
I mean,
but that decision's been made for them
if they owned that place 10, 15 years ago, they knew that was going to happen, though.
Oh, I have no idea.
No, but like actually, like that shit was voted on years down the road.
Yeah.
Not to sit there and be like, look at me, big government. Anyway, come over here. Where's my cigar?
Yeah, right.
She has, eh?
Yeah. But but again, like just back to those these situations that we find ourselves in, like I think it's cool to just be witness to them.
Yeah.
And if you're in that situation, manage the best you can. But for the people that are outside looking in, I think it's just it's interesting to observe what happens. Like if things not to judge it, just if things break down, if things band it together, which is happening now, like the media misrepresents all of it.
Yeah.
It became this big story of big negativity and all this shit that's happening, but we had friends down there too, and we're contacting them, and they're like, "No, we're good.
Yeah,
we're a little hungry, muddy as shit." But like,
there was
fine.
stuff going online that was like an Ebola virus outbreak that was happening there, and it was like the day they were just so ready for this to just be an epic failure of proportions, and it was less than ideal, but like it was fine. And I think another thing about Burning Man is that like if it had cost like first responders maybe, or if people had to come in and do something, but they all ended up getting out themselves.
Where's this level of vitriol for the fucking hundreds of millions of dollars we spent for those tourists in a fucking capsule off fucking Antarctica.
Right, or Titanic, yeah.
Right. Sorry, Greenland. Right. Wrong end of the fucking globe.
Same. Close
same,
enough.
Cold as fuck.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing about Burning Man that I don't know enough about Burning Man, but like how do because I know it says leave no trace and blah blah blah, but there's no way that they can't with that many people, whether it's maybe not exactly at Black Rock, but maybe it might be at Reno,
structure the size of a house that's shaped like a man.
And like I said, I don't know enough about Burning Man to like even speak on it, but just because I know it is on native land, like everything in this country is, but like how that affects that community, or does it affect? Are they included in it? Is that like? And that's something I would honestly. About.
And again, I don't know much about that, but I would say the people that I know that attend Burning Man are very, very like worldly conscious.
I would imagine. So that would be most of the people that attend.
Yeah, some kind of deal was made, or encouragement was given, or some kind of like thing like that was, if it is that situation, but. Yeah. But I mean, shit, I still want to go.
Yeah.
At some point in time, like I'm not going to let this turn me away, and I hope that. I mean, obviously, I think they will. There's enough people that go.
I don't think this affected future years of Burning Man at all.
Well, I mean, at its base level, if we remove, say, every little speck of trash is removed, which none of us believe that would happen.
Yeah.
Like that's not possible.
Yeah.
Right.
You had 75,000 people in fucking mud. In cars.
Yeah.
And the mud wasn't planned and shit, but that earth is going to look that way for fucking 20 years now.
It'll take a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, that shit's not going to rebound. So leave no trace. It's like, cool. Well, I can see where Dave fucking had his tent.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think like I said, like I think 90%, 99%, 95% of people that attend Burning Man are the kind of people that are very conscious about stuff like that. You wouldn't be unless like, but I think there are like with that many people, there are probably trickled in some assholes.
How much of this stuff was left in the mud? Because one thing I did not see Diplo or Chris Rock in that much publicized video. I didn't see them carrying their fucking tent or their rave gear or whatever the fuck. I saw a bunch of people walking through the desert, and I know they didn't fucking walk in with nothing.
Do you think I think they'd wait till they go back till the conditions were better and then went back to their stuff.
That's where the rubber's gonna meet the road is whether or not they're going back when that shit dries out to fucking unfuck the world.
I just to your previous comment about being on indigenous land, I think that the people putting this together, and I would love to follow up on that. Would have that we're taking care of this, right?
Even if those people that left it did not come back for it, someone is going to pick up the slack.
You
which
assholes,
sucks,
we worked the fucking Moonlight Cinema.
Yeah.
How many trash cans did we put out there? Fucking no, I was able to fucking condense them all into one at the end of the day because they just left it all on the lawn.
Yeah. Fucking Moonlight Cinema.
Oh man, that was a good social experiment.
That was, yeah.
Fucking hell. But I think I really want to be more a part of these social experiments, and I think the growth that people are really afraid of kind of has to happen with these things. Mm-hmm. It's great to be idealistic and have these small controlled groups, but the world is gigantic, and small controlled groups, we need to find a way to maximize that. Yeah. Right? And so, but the only way to do it is to kind of fall on our faces and feel the fumbling and go. You
don't strike me as a dude who wants to hang out with 75,000 people in a desert.
I don't. No, not on a regular basis, but I think again, it's going into this idea of I don't know. I love being a part of things that I know can be impactful.
Oh yeah, no. I mean,
for me in my journey.
And there was one guy, I was following the whole thing on TikTok, and one guy was like, "Hey, I went to Burning Man because I felt like I needed." This might sound gross, but more suffering, or I needed to identify or deal with struggle better. So I wanted to sign up for Burning Man to kind of test myself. And I know there's been a lot of discussion about how this is glorifying poverty and how, rich people just go out there to experience struggle for a week and then go back to their luxury life. So I'm not discounting that at all, but I'm just saying that where he was like, yeah, and I got a lot of struggle this year, and it was what I asked for, and I'm dealing with it, and I've had to learn a lot about myself. And I was like, well, that is a positive way to look at this situation. Yeah. But we're just ready to kind of rip everybody down about it, and everyone's got their points about all of those topics that I said, is it glorifying certain things, but also is it not? Is it cool to have a self-sufficient thing for a week where we don't have corporate sponsors and Jeff Bezos isn't attached to it?
Yeah, no, it shouldn't be sponsored by fucking Aquafina. I get it.
Yeah.
Well, and I think, okay, so when we start to dial in a little bit deeper to this, if you have the external view, you can create any kind of story, pessimism, whatever you want from that, right? And that's, if you want to do that, that's great, but to the point of trying to,
or do it in a way, devil's advocate way of hey, can we be more sensitive to this, or something like that? If you're going to explore the negative points of it,
right? But I mean, well, even to the point about let's take a person that's well off, putting themselves in a quote unquote like a poverty type situation for a little bit, or outside of, they can just buy everything and solve all the problems. Now they have to be part of society and do that. Good for them.
Yeah.
I think that's great. I don't think we should shame people for having success or whatever they have to, however they choose to spend their money. But choosing to put yourself back into a world where you are not the boss, you're not the doer all the time, and you have to kind of fight for it. Do
and you
that.
Have to contribute.
We need to understand what it's like, Yeah. And then when I worked in restaurants and doing corporate shit, in just a small example of that, you have all these, acronym names, CEOs, CFOs, the alphabet fucking army, telling us what the fuck to do, but haven't put their foot on a floor in 30, 40 years.
Right.
Don't even know what fucking restaurant ordering is like. The last time they waited tables, they were writing shit down and handing that to the kitchen.
It's like your parents just going hand in your paper resume. Just go walk the streets and hand in your resume. It's that's not how that shit works anymore.
Right. Yeah. But having a boss, having bosses like Jeff Morgan.
You should still have a resume and still have a physical copy of your resume.
I don't have either of those. But
you're also not looking for a fucking job.
No, I'm not. But having my boss Jeff come and wait tables with me just because he wanted to see how I did it, not to judge me, not to criticize me, but to be a part of that, run my food, do shit like that.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, that's just so cool. These things, I wish we could create more space for if that was even like a thing to be negatively looked at, let's embrace that a little bit more. But if people are touting that as like, oh, look at me, I'm gonna go rough it for a little while. No,
right?
Like the show. So where do you lie on the show Undercover Boss?
I never watched that.
Yeah, but you know what that basically is?
Yeah.
Well, where the CFO will go and like the CFO of like fucking Mrs. Fields cookies.
No, and I don't agree with that unless you're going there
like,
to try to do better.
Right, and not to catch someone in a in a gotcha moment. Right. But I think what it comes down to is that like there's such separation of wealth, and I feel like this vitriol would not exist if everyone was a little happier in their situation.
Well, if the gap wasn't as pronounced as it is.
So no shit, we're going to be pissed off when we're, more than half the world is struggling to pay bills, and then you see what you believe to be these rich people like cosplaying poverty or however you want to put it. Like, if everyone was taken care of, they'd just be like, go do your thing. Because I'm not worried about it. Like, but there is just this, everyone is so fucking on edge right now because life is really fucking hard for a lot of fucking people. And it is real life right now. And so I get where they're coming from. I get where the hostility is coming from. I also get where these people are trying to maybe reconnect with something that isn't, they maybe were successful and see what it is and want to connect back to something more grounded. So like, I get that too.
I was watching.
Wait, so you did not go to Twin Peaks?
I did not go to Twin Peaks. Okay. We literally drove.
When
in
you
the
tried to
reconnect
with something, you did not go to Twin Peaks. I'm like, listen,
can we do a road trip vlog to Twin Peaks?
Oh yeah, do a live podcast like the Popeyes. Hey, what kind of car is that, Adam? Oh, I think that's a Tahoe.
Can we go dressed up as Twin Peaks characters?
Lots of traffic.
All the way to Bothell.
We've gotten more leg out of like just talking about that unaired podcast.
It was not for naught.
Oh my god, that was fucking terrible.
Ramp metering. I'm not feeling this at all. Yeah, let's just go get some chicken.
Let's
go. Oh shit! What were you just talking about? You were talking about
just people wanting to dip their toe in the.
Just the separation of wealth and how people are just on edge.
Oh, I had a tangent I was going to roll to, and I totally fucking lost
Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks lost it.
Twin Peaks lost it.
I thought it was a theme chain restaurant. That's so fucking funny. Yeah, I mean, I even like I'm not single anymore, but even as a single dude, I hated restaurants like that. Like I went to Hooters once when I was like 13.
Same. I've been to Hooters one time, and it was actually I don't know if I ever told you the story.
Maybe twice. No, I went twice because I went back in high school.
Yeah, I went when I was in high school for sure.
So when I worked at Jillian's, the South Lake Union.
That was the Hooters I went to.
So there's a Hooters down the street, and I was good friends with the GM down there, but just Hooters wasn't my jam. And I
used to go there for the popcorn shrimp.
I love the atmosphere.
It's crispy.
I love the atmosphere and the popcorn shrimp.
But so I was 23. I was bartending 22. I was bartending at the time, and we had I was like maybe 3 months pregnant with Peyton, and I was bartending downstairs, and I got there for my shift, and we used to do jazz nights. It was like a Wednesday night, so we had jazz bands come in, so I was getting all this shit ready, making some drinks, and my buddy Les, the bouncer, comes around and I was working downstairs. He comes to the end of the bar, and he looks at me. And he's like, hey, come here. And so I walked into the bar. I was in the bar, so I just walked to the edge of the bar. He's like, no, come around the bar. Like, serious. And Les was 6'8", 380, just behemoth of a man. I actually have his hand tattooed on my chest. And I was like, and he's like, now. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yes.
So I'm like, oh, shit, man. We're like, I've known you for years. You're
yeah.
Okay, cool, let's do it. All right. And I come around, and by the time I make it around the bar, there's Jeff Morgan, my mentor, and two other managers standing all side by side. And I was like, oh, I'm getting walked out.
What?
Like, what is going on here? And I started going in my head. I was like, shit, what did I steal today?
Yeah. How much?
Today.
Where was the camera today?
Yeah. Like, what could they? Oh, man, did I give a beer away already?
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
Like, already, yeah. It's a semi-honest job, bartender.
And totally, right? You keep track. And so I'm walking, and I walk by Jeff, and I'm like, "What's up?" And he's like, "Sorry, man, our time's done." And I'm like, oh, man, no conversation, like, just like that. And he's like, let's go. I'm like, okay, just like that. Okay. Just walking down the hall, taking my apron off, and fucking, actually, no, Jeff goes, give me your apron. I'm like, give me a second. And I was going to untie it, and Les reaches his bear paw down and just rips my apron off me. And I was like, oh, motherfucker. And I get to the top of this, like, little 3-stair little stairwell going outside. And Jeff's like, it's been good working with you. And Les just gives me a push down the stairs and out the door. And I'm standing on 9th, on Westlake, actually. And I was like flabbergasted. I was like, what the fuck just happened? This is like 2 minutes of time to just fire me and push me out the door. And I'm like, just scratching my head. Like, I was just so fucking confused. And then Jeff comes outside, and I'm like, what? What the fuck? What now? What now?
Yeah.
Get off your sidewalk?
Yeah.
Like, you're like a dad to me. Like, this is fucking crazy.
How dare you?
And he puts his arm around me. He's like, the only way to get you to take a day off is to fire you.
Oh my God. Unnecessary.
So we're going to Hooters for your baby shower. And I'm like, fuck you.
What
the
going to
fuck?
Hooters for your baby
And so we
shower.
walked, it was like 3 or 4 blocks. So we're walking down there. And it took me about a block and a half to get
unmad.
I was so pissed. And I couldn't even tell him why, because I was like, I was trying to go through my head. I'm like, what you caught me doing?
I would have to unwind for longer than a couple of blocks. I would have been so angry.
Holy
oh my
shit.
So
God.
then when your server shows up, he's like, hey! You're like, shut up. That's fucking great.
Jeff.
Hooters.
Yeah. And they made me stand on a chair in the middle of Hooters while all the girls...
They did the Mazel
waitresses,
Tov game or whatever.
No, they played... they sang You Are My Sunshine. So, and I remembered what I was going to say on the topic of poverty.
Yes.
Right? Or just...
Got it back.
Hooters reminded me of poverty. There's no dotted lines
Getting
there
fired.
at all. But, okay, so I was watching something the other day about space exploration, getting to the moon, blah, 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 like all that space race now that we're doing, and wanting to put military bases on the moon, wanting to put college on the moon. There's actually an idea to put a college on the moon at the very first thing to put a college on the moon, because we don't want the first thing on another planet to be a fucking military base.
Yeah.
So putting a college on the moon and making free tuition.
I was gonna say, could you imagine the student loans of I go to Moon College?
They're trying to get people up to the moon.
I
right?
would go.
But so in that same conversation, this person was talking about this the idea of mining meteors. Mm-hmm. So stop mining the Earth where there's all these meteors flying through the world. Like, let's go mine a meteor. There's a meteor that they've found that has more like value in that. Has so much value in this meteor that every person on the planet Earth can be a billionaire.
Vibranium.
Something, right? No, but it's all like silicone and shit like that we already have, right? But, and that's the thing, it's like a company is going to get there first and put their flag on it and be like, mine.
It. Yes.
This is ours. And then now, what's inflation going to be like if that thing right there can make every human a billionaire?
So many world problems would be solved,
right.
And we would still spend money. Like, I'm a billionaire. I'm gonna have money to spend now.
This is like all things taken care of. Let's open up tuition, right? Everybody gets free college because the more people learn, the better everybody's gonna be. Yeah. It's not mandatory, but let it be an option, right? Working is an option. You want to be an art? Do fucking artwork.
Yeah.
Write with your poop. Be Picasso, right?
Yeah.
You see that fucking Russia crash landed their space thing on the dark side of the moon? So they sent it. India successfully landed one.
Yep.
On the dark side of the moon, which they never, Pink Floyd, which they had never done before. But Russia tried to do the same thing and totally like fucking kerplunked their thing, just like.
Or did they?
Right.
Or did they? I don't know. I'm pro them losing billions of dollars right now.
David Gilmour, Pink Floyd guitarist and singer, his guitar just auctioned, his Black Strat auctioned for $3.3 million.
That's it?
Yeah, I mean,
That's all?
he's got a couple. You know, I mean, obviously he's got a shitload of them, but like, yeah,
that's crazy.
When I think of Dave Gilmour, I don't think a lot of people like kind of, you know, like when you think of like an iconic Strat, you know, it'd be the Stevie Ray Vaughan one or a Hendrix one. Dave Gilmour, yeah, the black one. But,
Clapton's white guitar.
Yeah,
white Strat.
Fucking Clapton.
Dude, slow hand,
dude,
man.
Fuck Clapton.
Come on, man.
Fuck that shit. Dude, no, man. Fuck yeah. Fuck it. We should have a podcast about why Steve Winwood is the shit and why Eric Clapton's an asshole.
He also stole a song from Wynonna Judd.
Who did? Clapton?
Yes.
That fucking fits.
If I ruled the world, or if I could reach this. Thank you. That one.
Oh, that was Babyface. And
that went to Wynonna first. She still has that song, but he won all the awards for it. Because
Did she record it?
Yeah.
Really?
It's on Revelations, her album Revelations.
And
it's a better version. It's a better version.
I'm so glad you gave me that.
In your Eric Clapton hate arsenal.
Yeah.
I love how we were all like, we should not have vitriol for other people, except for fucking Eric Clapton.
Fuck that guy.
Actually, I can actually pump the brakes a little bit. I will say that I believe in Houston or some part in Texas, he's got a rehab facility called Crossroads.
Yeah.
Which helps a lot of people get clean on some bad shit.
Yep.
I'll give him that.
Okay, great.
I love Clapton.
Does a festival, we used to pay for that, down in Texas. But fuck all that shit. Back to why Steve Winwood's great.
But also...
He was in Traffic, you dig?
And Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about Jimmy.
I mean...
and the lead singer of Smash Mouth.
I can't believe that wasn't the first thing we talked about.
That one bums me out.
That one bums me out too.
That one he kind of drank himself to death.
Did he
well,
really?
he kind of turned into not a great. I think he was just actively vocally racist. I think.
That's not a good look.
Yeah, but
so what was funny and I didn't know this at the time. The new Jurassic. I mean, I think they made like fucking 5 or 6 of them, but the newest Jurassic World, the one that I saw like 5 years ago that I fucking hated, when I went off about that one, Chris Pratt,
fuck Chris Pratt,
Raptors and all that. It's got that famous scene with the person with the pterodactyls in the fucking cabana or the fucking dining room with the margaritas. That's Jimmy Buffett with those 2 margaritas. That's Jimmy Buffett.
Oh, that's a great cameo.
That's
Jimmy
a perfect
cameo.
I love those little cameos.
I knew that everyone knew about that guy, but didn't know that was Jimmy Buffett.
That's hilarious. I entered a raffle to go to Antarctica on a cruise with Jimmy Buffett.
See,
and can I tell you, when I didn't win that, I was so upset because I was like, I would love to go to Antarctica. It's on my bucket list.
Vibe here.
Seriously, could you imagine being on a Margaritaville themed cruise and just a down fucking jacket, freezing, penguins everywhere? Yeah. I need to be part of this, and I guess he did it. And he was planning on doing it like every couple of years, and so I was like, I'll get the next one. And then he died. I was like, I'll never have my Jimmy Buffett Antarctic cruise now.
That's like me with that Steven Seagal show in Ballard that I didn't go to.
It's not like I didn't try.
You could have seen that other band at any time. You're never going to see Steven Seagal again.
I tried. I really did try. I entered it a lot of times. I entered that raffle a lot of times.
I hate rock and roll cruise. Well,
you're telling me you wouldn't have a blast?
That's what I do. Oh, dude, I honestly, hey, I can't name a song of his that I really like.
I mean, I like the vibe. I like I just like him as a human. I don't jam out to Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah.
Cheeseburger in Paradise at the bridge where he talks about the toppings he likes on his cheeseburger. I dig that.
Yeah, sure.
But, I mean, I don't really like his shit.
Yeah.
I never really did. I mean, I don't really like Clapton's shit, but he had way better songs than Jimmy Buffett.
Jimmy Buffett had a whole vibrational universe. I think is what he created. It was less about the music.
I don't really like the gray hair, overweight, fucking tan vibe. That's
it's just
not
the
my shit.
chill.
It's just chill.
It's the island chill.
It's just Tommy Bahama.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. I saw a picture the other day with Erykah Badu and Reggie Watts together.
Oh.
I was like, man, I hope they create something together.
Me too.
I've kind of gone off Reggie Watts for no reason, just because I don't like the James Corden show, and he's like the music guy. So he just kind of does his thing there.
Okay.
And
Well, it got canceled.
Yeah.
So now Reggie Watts is back.
Yeah, he's actually playing in Seattle pretty soon. I'm just like, what? Maybe some of those mock tube guys would play there.
Man.
That would be the shit. I would definitely go see Reggie Watts' old band.
Yeah.
I saw him at Bumber Shoot a couple years ago.
I loved Mock
That was
Tube.
fun.
And even his solo album he put out
Simplified.
was really good. Yeah, great album. There's a lot of that on there.
And then he went and did the comedy Bang Bang shit and all that, and I never saw any of that.
Yeah, he's pretty funny. I appreciate his comedy.
He was uber. I mean, again, when I was seeing him live, I was like, this motherfucker is talented.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's
he obviously went on to be what
he's versatile.
Yeah.
He's
did you hear the newest
versatile.
thing about the Rolling Stone article with Jimmy Fallon being like Ellen?
Being like who?
Here's the thing.
Being like what?
He's just apparently it's not
just a drunk asshole.
It's not apparently working for Jimmy Fallon at the Tonight Show is not stirring the Kool-Aid.
Really?
And the article does in its defense acknowledge the high stress, high fucking stakes thing of the Tonight Show.
Right, yeah.
But it's also like cool, you kind of went about it the dick way.
Is it
if
like the
I
degree
had
of
to
Ellen?
host that show,
not that bad. Ellen, no eye contact shit is fucked.
Yeah, but I think there is some sort of a correlation between being on a show like that where you tape every day, you have to interview bullshit people, not everybody, but to be on for that many hours and have it that many, I think it would maybe turn even nice people into addicts and assholes and alcoholics.
Ellen and Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, I'm not excusing their behavior, but I think I would probably snap after 2 years.
I'm fucking mean to people I like, and I don't even do that shit.
If I'm on a 6-day stretch at work, those tables on day 6 are not getting the best meat. They are getting cunt Kinsey, capital C, capital K. You are getting bare minimum. So if I'm working 16-hour days, 5, 6, 7 days a week,
I want that to be, but in the vernacular, but not.
cunt Kinsey, capital C, capital K.
This is CK1. This is CK10.
I am a very different server on my Mondays versus my Fridays. It's so I think there is some kind of correlation, and I feel like Jimmy Fallon is a nice guy. So for it to be that bad, I wonder if it's.
I'm actually the same vibe on my Monday and my Friday. Actually,
cunt Robin all the time.
Well, probably. Yeah. No, I think I'm probably the shittiest person on the Thursday.
Sure.
Yeah. I think my vibe on a Friday. People talk to me. It's because my Friday's on a Tuesday. Everyone's like, "How are you?" I'm like, I'm doing okay, man. I got through my weekend, and now I'm at Tuesday. So I don't give a fuck. I'm just cruising.
Totally. Same.
But yeah.
There's an old story about Ram Dass from the 70s, and he talked about when he first went from Richard Albert to being Ram Dass and made that transformation, that he felt like he couldn't be he had to be that holy person all the time.
Yeah.
He couldn't be upset. He couldn't be angry. He couldn't be sad. He had to be Ram Dass, jovial and loving and giving and all this stuff. But he found himself after a little bit of time, stepping off stage and screaming at the people closest to him. And so there is that thing. We are a breadth of human emotions. We've got them all for a reason. And if we don't give ourselves the ability to experience them and to feel them and to really understand them, and we force ourselves into that box of being happy and look at me, I'm fucking,
everything's
working
out.
Great. Everything's I'm funny and shit, right? That gets so exhausting that you are going to end up becoming somebody you don't want to be.
Yeah.
Or
turning to substances to numb it.
Totally.
It's just inevitable.
Yep.
So I haven't read the article, but I heard about it.
Yeah. Doesn't get into a lot of detail, but the one thing that it did say was about all the 50 to 70 people, both current and fucking former employees of the Tonight Show. Not one of them wanted to go on the record and say something nice.
Yeah.
It's fuck.
Yeah. That's a lot.
Wow.
So, that just shows me that one of them isn't going to want to do the political game amongst their peers.
That upsets
to try
me.
To fuck. I mean, I know we're in a writer's strike, but it's just literally there's not one ass kisser there who's he was nothing but great.
Right,
my name is Dave, and I worked here.
Yeah, and I think Seth Meyers would be one that would hurt my feelings if I found out he was a dick. It doesn't surprise me about Jimmy Fallon.
So it also talked about how it was kind of a rudderless ship because they've had a different head guy in charge every year, and the main guy that was in charge on the late night show when they did all the shit that made him Conan's replacement, he stayed with Seth Meyers.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably part of the magic that is, I don't watch that fucking show either.
I don't watch it either.
I love Seth Meyers.
Yeah. I like the concept of those shows, but after I moved out of my parents' house and got like the freedom to watch more than 3 channels, I've not really
I branched out.
shows.
He watches fucking old school Arsenio on YouTube.
Actually, I do. They're the musical guests.
Dude, he always had like fucking Faith No More.
Dude,
and
totally,
shit.
man.
Yeah.
I actually saw an old one with I think it was Raekwon and Ghostface, and I'm like, yeah, that's
that
fucking
wouldn't
cool.
happen on any other show.
No,
yeah,
no, hell no.
that's dope.
Yeah, so.
Fucking Jon Stewart had that show that would have a lot of good hard rock acts on MTV. What was that show called?
Daily Show?
News before that. Jon
What
Stewart.
was that? Yeah.
It was called The Jon Stewart Show.
It was, yeah.
He
I
had
forgot
a
all
show
about
and
that.
he had a bunch
Holy
of
shit.
fucking. Yeah, that was on for
He
like
is another one where
Yeah.
it would hurt my feelings.
We
like,
find out. We find out.
Oh,
He just like
I
punts,
love Jon
he just
Stewart.
punts
He's such a
kittens.
sweet man.
God.
I
But
thought you meant
he
John
openly
Tesh at
acted
first.
like he dabs into his
Thought he
rage
meant
on
John
air,
Tesh.
so that's why
Oh, John Tesh would be fucking. That would be devastating too.
yeah.
Is he mainly a piano player?
Oh, John Tesh, yeah, dude, he's written like amazing songs. He wrote the football song, the
John
NFL.
Tesh. That was
Yep,
John Tesh.
that was John Tesh.
Wait,
Yeah,
I think we
totally.
talked about that on a podcast when we worked our way into John Tesh somehow.
We should do a whole episode
Oh
on John
yeah,
Tesh.
you had some things to say about John Tesh.
I thought you had something.
Not as many as Eric Clapton.
Yeah.
No. I got a lot of things to say about Eric Clapton. Not so much John Tesh. Like, is he a piano player?
I just want to make sure my shit talking's in the right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right
Right.
I
vernacular
mean,
here.
I definitely feel like I would need to, like, if I was at a John Tesh show, I would need to embrace my wife by holding her over her shoulders. And of course, she's going to have short hair in this narrative.
Okay, yeah.
You know, we're going
Sounds
to both
about
be
right.
wearing sweaters.
Okay,
Of course.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and you got to embrace during the Tesh show.
Yes.
Like, any time you're not spent bonding with your significant other, be a guy, girl, whatever.
And swaying.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
got to be locked with your love at a Tesh show.
Wow. Well.
And a turtleneck.
Oh yeah, your
Yeah.
neck gets cold. Well, see, it's tough because it's optimum necking
Yeah.
as well. So you don't want to.
John Tesh show.
You don't want to work too hard. You know, we're gonna probably do some necking at this Tesh show.
Right.
So I'll wear a collared shirt.
Oh man. Okay. Well, just gonna leave you with that little visual.
Yeah.
Y'all have a
Tesh.
great night. See you next time.